going to start sharing my screen there. People are still coming in, but we'll get started. Just to let you all know, this is recorded and you will be getting a copy of it in this month's newsletter, and it'll be posted online as well for you to all watch back on. So just bear that in mind. You'll be able to watch back on it if you don't have time to sit through the whole thing tonight, but we will try and get through it as quickly as possible. Right, I might just check there, girls. Can you see my shared screen?
Yep, I can see that there.
Brilliant. Okay, so welcome everybody. So this month's webinar, it's our second webinar of the year, is all about remedies and treatments on the Herdwatch app and everything to help you stay compliant. So joining me this evening, I have Katie Rabbit, who will be doing our Herdwatch demo. We have a guest on this evening, so Hazell Mullins, our guest vet, will be with us this evening to go through a few different things to watch out for this year, and just how she finds the Herdwatch app as well. And then in the background we have Emma. Emma will be available to answer all your Q&As. You can see the Q&A box. So if you have any questions from the get-go, you can pop them in there, and Emma will do her best to answer everybody. If your question isn't answered tonight, we will be passing all the questions over to the customer support team, who will get back to you, but hopefully we can do our best to get them answered tonight. So the agenda this evening, so we have our demo obviously by Katie. Hazell will do a little bit on animal health and medicine, but aside from that, we'll just go through the basics, introduction, why should you record your treatments in Herdwatch, and then as always at the very end, and kind of throughout the demo and such, we'll have a bit of a Q&A as well. If there's anything you want, you know, Hazell to answer, or like Katie as well on her demo, feel free to pop your question into that Q&A box, and we'll try to get them answered live as well. It's always handy to get an answer on the spot. We hope to fly through as quickly as possible. I have the girls on a stopwatch for tonight, so we won't be keeping you too long, hopefully within around the 45-minute mark. But like I said, it is recorded, and you will all be getting a copy, and it'll be on social media and everything tomorrow. So the Herdwatch story. So since we launched in 2014, we've been helping over 20,000 members with their herd performance and farm compliance. So we have over 4 million cattle in the app, over 1.7 million sheep, and over 800,000 acres mapped in the Herdwatch app. The Herdwatch offers 4 solutions in the one platform for farmers looking to optimize their herd, flock, and pasture management. Cattle by Herdwatch, Dairy by Herdwatch, and Sheep by Herdwatch help farmers achieve herd goals through data-backed management decisions. Pasture by Herdwatch assists farmers with grazing and pasture management. So new features over the last 12 months. A lot of these we have covered in individual webinars as well. So if you want any information on all of these new features over the last year, they are available to look up. There's different blogs, videos, webinars and such on our website, so do check them out. But there's crush side. We tend to touch on crush side nearly in every webinar because it's related to a lot. We'll probably cover it briefly tonight. Herdy is our new AI feature in the app, the web app version, so that you can use it basically by just logging in on the website and pulling up your data if you want it on a larger screen. The Mart and factory link, turbo mode, nitrates calculator, scanning, tagging, lambing insights, and your grazing management and PBI integration. So there is a lot there always coming out. It's always good to stay up to date with all the new features to get the best out of it. And like I said, all information on any new features can be found on the Herdwatch website. So why should you record treatments with the Herdwatch app? So it's fully compliant for your farm assurance schemes. Herdwatch is fully compliant with all farm assurance schemes. So once you record your remedy purchase, your usage, and feed purchases in Herdwatch, there's no need to write them in any book. So you can completely get rid of your pen and paper for any records. You can record on the spot. So as Herdwatch works offline, all records can be recorded on the spot as they happen. So even if you have no Wi-Fi or internet in the yard, you can record and they'll back up at a later stage when you do get internet. Remedy stock tracker. So Herdwatch keeps track of your remedy inventory, so you know what's in your remedy cabinet at all times. And capturing, storing, and retrieving data. So Herdwatch comes fully stocked with over 800 plus remedies approved by BPA available to choose from. And if it's not on the list, you can add it yourself, which Katie will go through in her demo as well later on. So I am now going to pass it over to Hazell Mullins, our animal health and medicine best practices. She's going to go through a few things. So I'm going to stop sharing Hazell, and I will pass it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Katie. Okay, let's hope this all works. Share, and then I have to go down here and okay, so we'll go back to the start, which is always a good place to start. Firstly, thank you so much to Katie and everyone at the team and Herdwatch for inviting me on tonight. And look, it's not my first Herdwatch webinar, and I really do enjoy them. I'm a user of Herdwatch for, oh God, I'd say since the first year. When was that? I'd say at least 5 or 6 years now at this stage. I remember, being one of the first, I think, to get on board and use it. And it just made my life on the farm so much easier from the get-go. So I'm very, very grateful to have it. So I'm based in Cork. I'm a vet, a large animal vet, mostly cows. Apologies, Katie. I know you love your sheep, but I am mostly a cow vet. I have a dairy herd of my own. I farm with my dad. We're milking 70 cows in Cork, in a place called Carricknavar. And yeah, so I locum and then I also farm. So at the moment it's springtime. There's lots of calves arriving on the farm. And basically tonight I want to kind of go through basically medicines that I think are important to have. And, I think moving away from the antibiotics, I think we're definitely in an age where we need to be very aware of our antibiotic use and actually using things to prevent antibiotics. And also when we do use antibiotics, that we're using them responsibly and that we're recording them, etc. So we have the board BIA inspection here in Ireland, and it is always nerve-wracking. Even if I think I'm so prepared, I'm still out cleaning cobwebs the day before and freaking out. But having the Herdwatch app and making sure that every time I use, say, a mastitis tube or I inject a calf, I'm recording that. So it's very important. So look, we will move on. That's Spring of Medicine's essentials. So basically, I think vaccines are so important to everything we do on the farm now for preventative medicine. Again, anything to reduce the use of antibiotics on the farm is good in my eyes. So here I am vaccinating for salmonella back in September. I just kind of picked the spring vaccines because they're relevant. So obviously, in a spring calving herd in Ireland, you vaccinate for salmonella kind of in August, September time. But at the moment, say from now on for the next couple of months, it's a little late for scour vaccines at the moment. But if you, for any reason, get a rotavirus outbreak on the farm, it is something that you can, if you haven't been vaccinating, if you have cows 3 weeks from calving, you can go in and vaccinate those cows. And I have come across farms where they haven't been vaccinating and all of a sudden they do get an outbreak. You can vaccinate, but you need at least around 21 days before calving for that vaccine to really work. And then you give the colostrum to the calf. So again, sometimes it might only be 10 cows left, maybe in April that you've enough time, but it's worth doing if you even for doing those 10, and you can get those vials of scour vaccine in vials of of 5. So even if you had 5 cows, so that goes for suckler cows as well if you have a rotavirus outbreak. There is a crypto vaccine. I didn't put it down here because you actually need 7 weeks prior to calving for a crypto vaccine. So really we're looking at that to be doing that in early December time for spring calving herds. But if you do say get a crypto outbreak, say in spring, and you have cows calving in autumn, it's definitely something to think, okay, 7 weeks before calving, I need to talk to my vet about possibly going down the crypto vaccine route. So I didn't put it down here because it's a little late at this stage in spring to start a crypto vaccine. You can give crypto and rota together, and they are licensed. So Rotavac vaccine and the crypto vaccine are licensed together. They're both MSD products. So you can talk to your vet and you can be given those together. So especially for autumn calving, maybe suckler herds, something to talk to your vet about. Lepto, again, a lot of people have moved lepto to December time because it's a quieter time of year to be vaccinating their cows. But if you haven't, pre-breeding is the main thing to be doing with your lepto, and always order it early from your vet because every year there's always a shortage of it. It might be different this year, but just a warning, there is only kind of one or two companies now making a lepto vaccine, so it's important that you pre-order it and that you just make sure that you have it in stock. So heifers, they need 2 shots 4 weeks apart, and then kind of March time for cows pre-breeding. So if you're starting breeding in April, you'd want to be thinking to have it in for a couple of weeks before that. BVD, unfortunately, there was a few increases in outbreaks in herds in 2025. Now it wasn't crazy, like I think it was a couple of percent, but it's not been going the right way. Hopefully this year will be different, but obviously with BVD, it's a virus and it doesn't have to be nose-to-nose contact. It actually can kind of jump across ditches. So if your neighbour had an outbreak, usually you are told by the department if your neighbour had a positive. So it is something that you just have to be aware of, that even if you're haven't had a positive for ages, and your cattle are maybe moving over to a contract rearer, or they're moving to an outside farm and there's other there's new neighbours, or there's people that you don't fully know their history of cow or cattle in the neighbouring field, it can spread that way across kind of windborne a couple of meters. So again, you're looking pre-breeding, so March time. You can either go in with a live 1 dose to your heifers or cows, or you can go in with a dead vaccine, but that needs 2 shots 3 to 4 weeks apart. So you're looking kind of this time and then kind of 4 weeks time in March. And then 1 booster of that dead vaccine to your cows pre-breeding. So look, have a talk with your vet about all of these if you are worried about them. You can ask me any questions if you have them as well. But generally, I don't really like to mix vaccines. I like to give at least about a week to 10 days between vaccines. I know some of them are licensed together, so talk to your vet about which ones are licensed together, usually from the same brand. They can be, but definitely things like that are, your more expensive vaccines, like your scour vaccines. I don't like to have any interference with those, and making sure that they're working as best they can. Because look, we've all had experience probably now in the last couple of years of vaccines, and we know that actually they do take a bit out of you. And, if you're putting 2 or 3 vaccines into a cow at one time, their immune system is going to be under pressure to launch a response to those vaccines. So if you think about it from our own perspective, we just need to consider how the cows are going to react. I suppose, look, I just put a slide in about this. This is the Voltavo 3 vaccine that's commercially available in Ireland at the moment for blue tongue serotype 3, which is a specific type that's the most common type that's kind of occurring in the Netherlands and the UK at the moment. Now we're lucky at the moment, we're not in the midge season, so blue tongue is spread by midges. It's a vector disease. So I suppose in Ireland now, we are allowed to vaccinate for blue tongue since kind of early December, and we really do need to probably think about it. People that are probably watching the UK, in Ireland we have a very seasonal calving herd. So if we're breeding in, say, May till July, August time, for our spring calving herd, like what happens in May to August. The weather is good, midges are around, they can bite animals, they can, spread to different parts of the country. So we are, like, I'm in Cork, we are in an air mass coming up from Cornwall and the continent, basically, that could bring midges across the channel there, and they could come and spread. Like, they have found cases in Wexford, probably coming over from the west coast of England. So it is here now. So we do have to probably think about how it's going to affect our cows in the breeding season. So it can cause a lot of infertility. It can cause abnormalities, like, so they can get, congenital abnormalities at birth, stillbirths as well, dummy calves, so they can be born, but they mightn't, they might be just not being able to suck. They just might seem a bit dummy, like a bit stupid, and they're just, it's not their fault, it's because they have this virus. And we just could impact our breeding season a lot. So I would talk to your vet. I would, if you're thinking about it, if you're in an area of Ireland that's in a flight path of these winds, I would be very, cautious of I think of this as an insurance policy. We don't know whether we're going to get like the Netherlands outbreak of blue tongue, or are we going to get more of the UK outbreak, that it wasn't as severe? So, or we could get something in the middle. So we don't know what's going to happen, but there's a lot of experts telling us that this is a real risk to our herd and our sheep as well. So in cows, it's 2 doses, 3 weeks apart. And really we want to have that done by the end of April, when temperatures are rising, before the midges are going to be able to come over and infect our cattle. Now, it's like any vaccine, it protects to a certain level. But it does have claims that it protects that breeding side of things and reduces clinical signs. So in sheep, I suppose you get more severe clinical signs of blue tongue. You have that typical blue tongue. You have, a lot, like sheep, actually, there's a lot more fatalities with sheep, more so than with cows. Cows can get better from it, but they mightn't ever go back into the parlor. They might be infertile. So, it's that cow then is going out of your herd. So there's a lot of unknowns. But basically you need to talk to your vet. We can order it in vet practices at the moment under a special license, and Herdwatch actually helps with that, because basically when you order your vaccine, you get a special form that you have to fill out, the exact animals that you're giving the vaccine to, because of screening with the National Disease Centre. We need to know what animals have been vaccinated. So Herdwatch, you can put in your Boltavo 3 to your milking cows, and it'll have all your full numbers, and then you can send that then to the National Dairy or National Disease Centre. So it's just a little extra step with this particular vaccine. So it's ask your vet, they know it all. And this is just an example of what I plan to do on my farm in around Patrick's Day. I'm hoping to give the first dose, and then 3 weeks later, around the 7th of April, I'm hoping to give the second dose. So it's into the muscle for cows, and it's under the skin for sheep, and sheep only need 1 dose. So yeah, that's blue tongue. We have a lot of, emerging diseases, and this is something that, like, blue tongue was something that I learned about in college back in 2014. So it's been around and it's been warned. So it's here now, it's in Ireland, and we just have to maybe accept that we might need to protect our cattle and sheep. So calf pneumonia is another one, vaccine again. So basically you have your live intranasals, or you have your dead vaccines that usually cover. So RSV and PI3 is in your live, and then RSV, PI3 and Pasteurella or Mannheimia are in your dead vaccines. So dead vaccines usually how they work is they need 2 shots. So they need 2 injections. Usually 3 to 4 weeks apart, depending on the brand. And then they take a bit longer to work. So your live intranasal vaccines are for animals that you are concerned about right now. So if you have a history on your farm of calf pneumonia in calves that are like a month to 8 weeks, 2 months old, really the dead vaccine is going to be too slow in working in that case. So you need to be giving an intranasal. If you're getting a lot of like young calf under 8 weeks and pneumonia, even under a 12-week pneumonia, you really should be looking at a live vaccine. So that's up the nose. You can get a nice gun now and an applicator for that, so it's quite easy. So the vaccines that are available to us are from day 1 to day 10. So it depends on which one you they're all similar adjuvants and strains, but which ones have licenses for different age calves, just discuss with your vet. Really good for maybe calf to beef systems. If you are buying calves in to rear them, an intranasal vaccine can really protect. I wouldn't give it on the day that they arrive because they can be a little bit stressed, from transport. So I would probably just wait 24 hours and then I would give them their shot up the nose. And it really should start working within a couple of days to a week. So you're just giving that quick acting protection against calf pneumonia, especially for RSV and PI3. So if you protect against the viruses, usually the bacteria then doesn't come in. So that's the initial factor generally. So with the dead vaccines, really handy for calves, say that you have a history of later calf pneumonia, you have a history of calves getting sick at grass, you have a history of calves getting sick later on going into housing. So you can give the dead vaccine from 2 weeks of age. So they have to be 2 weeks of age. You give it 3 to 4 weeks apart, and then you give the second shot. And then 2 weeks after the second shot, they're fully covered. So it really does take about 6 weeks for the dead vaccine to work. And then you get 6 months cover, whereas you only get 3 months cover with the live. So there's always some little downfall with certain whatever product that you're going to use, like there's fors and against. And I think it's just talking to your vet and discussing your history and what you're worried about. Like a lot of people here in Ireland worry about lungworm at grass and they find it really hard to combat it, and they might get pneumonia secondary to lungworm, and then actually the dead Pastorella RSV PI3 vaccine, if that's in their calves before they go out to grass, it gives them great protection against secondary pneumonia caused by lungworm, so they don't get as extremely sick. So it's really good to think of. And then actually, if you have that in, you only need to give one shot then, say in October, when they're going into the house, and then you get another 6 months cover. So for 3 shots, you're kind of getting nearly a year's cover of pneumonia. But again, if you're getting in baby calves, or if you're in high risk kind of situations like buying in calves from different sources, I would probably be looking at the intranasals because you want it to act fast. Now, gold standard would be to give an intranasal, which is going to cover for the first kind of couple of weeks or 3 months, but then start your dead vaccine. You can give it with an intranasal. Say you can, time it that you're giving an intranasal and a dead vaccine at the same time once they're 2 weeks old. And that actually just gives that extra like cover at the start, and then it extends it. So there is programs that you can talk to your vet about using both. And again, just trying to don't vaccinate calves on the day of moving, say on the day of dehorning or anything that you're going to cause that little bit of extra stress. You want their immune systems to be really good, and like even a really bad stormy day can affect how they're going to react to a vaccine. So yeah, discuss with your vet. Calf pneumonia vaccines, there's lots of options. So if you're a bit bamboozled, don't be. But I think just intranasals, fast acting, dead vaccine, longer duration, but slow acting. So depends on your history. So storage of vaccines, look, go home straight from the vets, cold packs in the car. A working fridge is always good. And look, make sure that your temperatures are generally kind of in around the 4 to 5 degree mark in the fridge. You don't want, like in the center of the fridge if you can, and not to touch the back of the fridge, because I don't know, in my fridge sometimes it gets really like frosty at the back of the fridge, and certain things like freeze onto the back of the fridge. And the last thing you want to do is freeze a vaccine, because you can kill it. So just be careful of that, especially yeah, just the any, and certain fridges can be temperamental. So look, we have a website in Ireland called Done Deal. You can get plenty of fridges that people probably don't want anymore, but just making sure they're working is the main thing. Checking dates of vaccines. A lot of them will have kind of a year or so date on them. Use within 8 hours usually is the general ballpark figure. And no sellotape over the top or wax. I've seen it all, trying to reclose bottles of vaccine, but once that air is gone in, that means that it's going to be deactivated. So realistically, try and get the sizes as specific to your herd size as possible. The only exception actually is Rotavac Corona. It's licensed for 28 days once opened, so that's a handy one for your scour vaccine with that particular brand. That you can open it and then use it. Great for suckler herds, because they can kind of, if they have an extended calving period, they can inject a cow and then they can inject another cow a couple of days later or whatever, kind of that 3 weeks to 12 weeks before calving. So springtime pain relief. Pain relief is a big thing of mine. I don't like anything in pain. But meloxicam it's usually a yellow liquid. It's a bottle that you should have on your shelf. It is POM, so it needs to be recorded in your Herdwatch, and you need a prescription from your vet. But 2.5 mils per 100 kg is the dose. So generally kind of in around a 1.5 mils to 2 mils for a baby calf. And approximately disbudding, it's licensed for disbudding, so pain at disbudding. So there's lots of studies done where they've monitored calves after just so they've given the local, and then they gave one group no pain relief, and then they've given the other group pain relief, and they've monitored their behavior. So there's a lot more ear flicking, lying down, not eating, scratching their heads off walls. We've probably all seen this occurring. And actually with the pain relief on board, so the meloxicam under the skin at the time of disbudding, they reduce those signs really, really quickly. And it's great because the local anesthetic, so 2 to 3 mils either side of the head, just where that needle is there pointing in the middle there between the eye and the ear. There's a little kind of indentation there that's quite handy. And then just to suck back on the needle to make sure that you're not in a blood vessel. But if you are, you just redirect. And then as you're coming out, you can and just massage it then around the area afterwards. Can just try and make sure that it's working and under the skin and whatnot. Sometimes you'll see a droopy ear, or you'll see them kind of closing their eyes. So that's always a good sign that the numbing is working. And then with the Metacam or the meloxicam or whatever you're using, pain relief, it just helps because the local only lasts for 90 minutes. So if you think about it, I think I'd prefer a bit more pain relief than 90 minutes, an hour and a half, after I was disbudded, I'm sure. So if you put yourself in the calf's shoes, it's really a non-negotiable really when you're disbudding. And yeah, so that's with that. And then tough calving as well. Look, what constitutes a tough calving? I think definitely using a jack, anything where you're prolonged, kind of trying to get the calf out, and there's, maybe a bit of if there's any swelling or tears or anything happening like that, I think that you need to be thinking about pain relief. Ketoprofen is a non-milk withdrawal pain relief, but there has been studies showing that it can lead to holding of an afterbirth. So if you give, if the cow has still her afterbirth intact when you're giving it, I would just be cautious of that. And then the meloxicam would be preferred. It does have a longer duration, generally around 48 hours of pain relief. Ketoprofen generally is less than 24 hours. But you do have to watch with your milk withdrawals. So making sure that it's a 5-day milk withdrawal for meloxicam in dairy cows. So just to watch that and put it into your Herdwatch. Coccidiosis, again, this time of year, thinking of things that you should kind of have, perhaps, or talking to your vet about. So there's toltrazuril or dicleurazil. I never know exactly how to pronounce them, but they now need a POM in Ireland. So they're now POM, so they now need a veterinary prescription. So you can no longer go to your licensed merchant and pick it up off the shelf. You need a veterinary prescription to access these medications now. Again, for more stringent use of them. So 3 mils per 10 kg or 4 mils per 10 kg for the dicleurazil. Slight exposure required for preventative. So they kind of, in a way, act like a vaccine. So the idea is that you are exposing your calf to a very low level of cocci. Say now you have a history of coccidiosis in your shed and you get it most years despite like disinfecting and all that. And you're kind of worried that it will happen again. So you're kind of thinking, okay, I want to go in around the 2-week old age in the calf. You want them slightly exposed, but you don't want them to get clinical signs. So the life cycle of a coccidia is 3 weeks. So you're trying to hit it kind of just before it starts replicating in the gut. So you're letting the gut have exposure to get immunity, but then you're killing it before it causes clinical signs. Again, at grass, a lot of people get coccidiosis at grass. So again, you'd be letting them out at grass, and then you'd be bringing them in at kind of 10 to 14 days post turnout and dosing them then. So it's a little bit of calendar work. It's worth it in the end because it just prevents those kind of repeat cases if you do it like that. Again, stress can have a serious impact on coccidiosis. So bad weather, movements, anything like that, like, even poor nutrition. So if you keep your calves, in tip-top shape and healthy, like that's all helping against coccidia taking hold. So again, it's a bugbear with it's just a nightmare to try and manage sometimes. So I know maybe some people have horror stories with coccidiosis, and I've seen them. So yeah. Calf scours. Okay, do not jump straight to antibiotics, please. I know everyone has their remedies of old, but if you can please try and rethink how you treat calf scours. And look, antibiotics, if you're giving them orally, which is a lot of the medications for calf scour, you're going to be disrupting your gut flora. Like when you take antibiotics yourselves, you're probably looking, you're not feeling your best, you're going to the pharmacy to try and get probiotics, all of these things. Look, they have their place in certain situations, perhaps with E. coli scour, but we are moving away from oral antibiotics now in calves. So most calf scours are viral, so either rotavirus or parasitic crypto. So always test if possible. So just drop a sample into your vets. They'll have these farm side tests. You can see this one is positive for rota, so the 2 lines. Again, with rotavirus, you're thinking of hydration, maybe probiotics, making sure that you're trying to keep them drinking milk. That used to be an old kind of tale that you take them off milk completely. I don't mind maybe missing 1 milk feed, max 2, but generally sometimes the electrolytes, in between milk feeds is what you're aiming for. Again, if they're recumbent, if they're sunken eyes, no suck reflex, you really do need to be calling a vet for an IV drip then. And then with your crypto, you need to be talking to your vet about different antiparasitics that you could use for crypto. So look, antibiotics are warranted in some cases, but we do, and if we are using them, if your vet suggests to use them, you want to be just making sure that we're completing the course. So recording in Herdwatch, giving it for, say it's a 4-day course, we're giving it for that long because like ourselves, if we only take a day or two, we could be causing resistance, and we need our like veterinary and public health, we're all connected, one health. So we all need to be doing our bit and using antibiotics responsibly. So this is a scour. I suppose give separate to milk. I wouldn't mix electrolytes with milk because the osmolarity of what you're giving then could just upset the gut. So you're either giving one or the other, separated by 2 to 3 hours between feeds of either electrolytes or milk. I just did a little table here of ideal values, so you can give a screenshot, but basically not all electrolytes are made the same. These two are just two that I have used in the past. Like this is a new one, the HydroSim and the HydroFast. I like them. You're just looking for a certain level of sodium, so 90 to 130, chloride 40 to 80, potassium 10 to 30, and osmolarity 500 to 600. Strong ionic difference as well, so 60 to 80. Look, it's just even if one or two things aren't right, as long as you have a majority of those things in those brackets, we're doing okay. And then alkalizing agents, with scour you get acidotic. That's when they lose their suck reflex, and just making sure that it's not just bicarbonate or some, you want different alkalizing agents in your electrolytes. And again, ringing your vet if your calf is recumbent and non-responsive. So this is a very handy if you've got a huge outbreak and you need to do a little bit of home remedies. This is an Animal Health Ireland recipe. So again, it's you've got your potassium in your low salt, your bread sodas, your bicarbonate, your glucose. So look, it's a handy one. People have used it. Again, if you're faced with 30 or 40 calves all scouring, it can get expensive, so it's just an option. So look, that's me. I think obviously I could talk for hours and hours on every single disease that we're going to see, that we could see over the next couple of months, but I think I don't want to overwhelm you, and just to highlight the main things really, and just how to input them in Herdwatch. We'll see that now in a minute on the demo, and just how important it is to make sure we're storing our medicines correctly in our medicine cabinets, our fridges, and that we're looking at our dates and all of that. It just all helps with, especially with antibiotics, we need to be very, very aware of, we've got a responsibility as farmers for, responsible use of them. So over to you, Katie, I suppose.
Yeah, thanks so much, Hazel. That was great. I think it's safe to say everyone learned a lot, whether you're whether you have dairy cows or suckler farming or sheep. A lot of it is relatable throughout the different enterprises. So thanks very much for that. I'm going to hand over to Katie now. You can be sharing your screen away there, other Katie. And Katie's basically going to now put it into practice what Hazel was talking about, all the different remedies and treatments, how you would put them into the Herdwatch app, whether you have the cattle or the sheep. Processes are the same. So I'll hand it over to you, Katie. Thanks very much.
Perfect. Thanks a million. Can you see my screen there? All good?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. No bother. Okay, so I'll try to fight through this. I won't keep you after 8, guys. So recording your remedy purchases and treatments in Herdwatch. So when you're on your home screen here, the first place you're going to go to is your orange plus button. So you'll find all your tasks in here anyway. Now there is a shortcut for cattle treatment on the front if you are in a panic, but I'll show you just to go through the orange plus. So the first thing we're going to do here is go to our remedy purchase task, right? So it's kind of a 2-step process. Always put in the purchase first and then do your treatment. So just an example here, I'm just going to put in one that's on the top of my head. So I'll just throw in Dectomax. So you can select whichever you need there from the cabinet. So it'll bring you into this screen here. So anything in orange with a star beside it is what's required for your board BA, basically. So if you have those in, you're good to go. And then there's a lot of extra you can put in as well. So a date of purchase, it's just a calendar function. So you can push it right back. Maybe if you're back dating medicines, you can go back into last year, even if you need to as well. So once you have your date in, you can just hit OK. Unit of measure, so if it's milliliters, tubes, grams, you can pop in whatever you're using there. Quantity purchase, just how much you bought. So if you bought 500 mils, just pop in 500. And then supply by, you can pop in your vet. Now, a couple of our herd numbers are popping in, but I'll just pop in Mark O'Connell there. So you can have your vet set up. If you don't have it set up already, when you pop into this list, if it's blank, just hit your orange plus button there, go to type, go to vet, and you can pop in Hazell there if you like, if Hazell's your vet. So you can just set them up there and select them out of the list. So there's a couple of extra bits you can fill in. So dose per animal per day. So if it's a fixed dose, if you do want to put it in at this stage, it is quite handy because it means when you come to the treatment record, your treatment will automatically fill in all this information. So I'm just going to put in 10 just to show you on the treatment record. And treatment reason as well. We've a load of treatment reasons in here. If you do want to pop them in, it'll go onto your report then as well if you are recording it. And likewise, it'll copy over onto your treatment record as well. So next most important part is the withdrawal information. So I would always recommend if you're putting in the purchase, put in the withdrawal information as well. So you most likely probably have the bottle or the box with you. If you don't, if you're backdating, you can use this input withdrawal info button. So if you click on that, we'll always give you the HPRA guidelines there. So 35 days meat, no milk. So you just hit input and we'll pop it in for you there. So if you do want to put it a couple of days over, you can change it there as well if you need to. No need to put in a 0 here. You can just leave it blank. You can pop in your prescribing vet as well. And then there's loads of optional lectures. So batch number, expiry, would always recommend you put those in on your purchase record as well. And then if there was any spill or if you want to put in costs or anything, you can pop that all in, even a few notes as well if you need to. So once you've all your information in that you need to have in on your purchase record, you can hit save. If you haven't put in something, we'll always give you a pop-up there anyway to let you know if you need to go back and fill in something. So just for the demo, I'm just going to hit continue. So that's it now saved into my cabinet, right? So now if I want to go and actually do a treatment with this, I'll hit my orange plus button and this time I'll go for cattle treatment. Now you have used this remedy as well. It's the same thing. So we'll just go with cattle treatment. So it should bring us into this next screen. So I'm going to go from remedy cabinet because I've already recorded my purchase. So click the top option there. And there's my Dectomax ready to go. So just click on your Dectomax. Now, if you do have a couple of medicines you're dosing at the same time, if they're in your cabinet, you can select them all and then hit next, and you can pop in your different treatments as well. So I'll do the Dectomax for now. So I have that selected, so I'll just hit next. So again, my calendar function, so I can just pop in the date. It's a very similar record to the first one. So once you've done a purchase, you'll likely get through a treatment then as well. So pop in your date administered, course including 1 day. So this actually, I think, came in the Q&A earlier there from somebody. So if you have a dose that's over a couple of days, so a 1 day course, just a once-off dose. If you click in, we have up to 10 days there. So that saves you having to put in a double record every time. So you can pop in your 2 days or 3 days just to save you the extra hassle. Administered by, so you can set yourself up here. So if you haven't got yourself set up, again, hit your orange plus, hit type, operator contractor is what you'll pop yourself in as. You probably have your vet set up from doing your purchase record anyway. You just put in your name and then hit save. So I'll just go back here. Dose per animal per day. So we can see the work we've done on the purchase record has carried over. So we have 10 mils has already gone in. Now look, if you wanted to change that or if you didn't have it in, you just type it in there anyway. Again, treatment reason would have pulled over there as well. Proof of purchase, you can add in a picture of your docket or a picture of your receipt if you like. If you have it in your remedy purchases, there's no need to do this. You're compliant for board BA even if you don't upload a picture of your docket there as well. So milk withdrawal, meat withdrawal, that's also carried over from our purchase record as well. Now, look, if you didn't put any of this on your purchase, you have the opportunity to put it on your treatment there as well. So no panic if you didn't do it at the time. And then you have the same button there to input your withdrawal. And the same again, batch number, treatment result. There's loads of different options you can pop in. There's an option there if it was a vet call out, you can flick that on. It is a specific task as well, which I will show you too. So you have all your information there. So once you've all that in and you're happy, you just hit next. Again, anything that's missing, it'll pop up. You can hit continue. And then you're brought out to your list of animals. So once you've synced your herd with the department or BCMS or Scott EID, all of your tag numbers should be down here. So you can literally select them out of the list. You can scroll down through it and pick them out. You can search for tag numbers. So this little magnifying tool up in the top right hand corner, click on that, you can type in tag. So I see 10042. So I can search for that, backspace it, and go for the next one. A handy thing to set up here, and particularly in springtime as well, if you're a suckler or dairy farming, is to set up groups, right? So if you pop this here, so I have just a test group set up there, shed 1. There's 10 animals in it. So if I was just dosing all the animals in that shed, pop into the group, hit select all, and I could hit save. So a good group definitely to set up at this time of year, we've a lot of people call in to do it, is your 2026 calves. You're most likely going to be dosing them all together all the time. So that's a handy group to have set up there. If you don't have the group set up, pop into this list. So these are smart lists. They're dynamic lists the Herdwatch have set up for you that we think you might use. So we have 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12, 12 to 18. There's loads and loads of lists in here. If there's any in particular that you're using quite often, just click the star beside them and it'll bring it right up to the top of the list for you. And then the last place you can select animals from is your moved out list. So if you have, sorry, pop in and out, it should pop up for me there again. I'll go into the smart list there. My internet's not great, guys. I do apologize. So this is what your moved out list will look like. So when you click in here, you'll have all your animals that have moved out. So if you are backdating medicines, maybe for your board BIA and you're catching up on the last couple of months, but animals have moved or maybe they've gone to the knackery, you can select them out of here. So that's just another handy thing to know, maybe if you are kind of going back on your medicines. There's the last thing I'll show you here, which is handy and some people might use it. If you pop into your little magnifying tool again, you have the filter button. So you can filter it by age and months, by gender. There's loads and loads here. If you want to go by a particular date of birth, so if it's from the 1st of January to the end of March, you can do it that way as well. So loads of ways to select your animals. And then once you do have some selected and you want to double check them, just go down here, 2 animals selected, and you can have a look at what you have in the list already. So just if you are flicking back and forth between tags. So once you've all that done, you just hit save, and that's your treatment record done there now. So you've put in all this information. Where are you going to find it, right? So I'll bring you right back out to the home screen again. So pop into compliance, pop into remedies and treatments, and it's going to bring you straight into your cabinet. So this is going to show you all the medicine that you have in stock in your virtual cabinet, which ideally should match your physical cabinet then as well. So you can see what you have left. So we can see I'm after treating 2 animals, 10 mil each. So we've 480 mil left. If it was expired, this icon will go red. If it was empty, there'd be an X through it and it actually automatically clears so you don't see it. You can have a look at your treatments as well. So just go into the next tab and we can see my treatment for 2 cattle at 10 mil each. Into your withdrawal section. So we can see straight away, I have 2 cattle in meat withdrawals. So this is a good way to track all of your withdrawals, just if you are maybe moving animals or doing anything with them. So you want to see what tag numbers they are, just click on that section and the list and the treat date, and they're in withdrawal until 30th of March 2026. So it gives you a good overview maybe as to what's going on with your animals, where they are in their withdrawal. And then we have this summary tab. So if maybe you forgot to put in a withdrawal and you're going back through trying to get ready for board BIA, you can pop in here and it'll give you the option to update to withdrawal record. So the reason this one is shown is because I had the milk in at 0. So it will sometimes show them. We are working on to get that fixed, but at least you can pop through them and just double check anyway. If there are any withdrawals you're missing when you're coming up to your board BIA. I did mention it there as well. I'm just going to go back to it. So your vet call out. So if you do have the vet calling out to you and you need to record that, hit your orange plus button and you'll see on the second line here, vet call out. So you click on that. It's basically like doing a purchase and a treatment record at the same time. So I'm just going to go for my Dectomax again because it's still in my head. Click on that, hit next, and it'll bring you into your calendar function. So it's the very same then as just doing your treatment record again. So when it comes to your reports, this will go down as a vet call out. It's not going down as a purchase for you. So it should just keep your records right. So definitely use that where applicable anyway if you need it. So I'll just pop back out of that there now. Just something that Hazel mentioned actually just when she was talking about pain relief. Just if you're doing meloxicam at 2.5 mil per 100 kg, you can do that within crush side. So if you're recording your weights in Herdwatch, you can do doses based off of body weight of animals per kg. So you can set that up in there for yourself as well if that is something that you need to do. So once you have all your remedies recorded, and now Board B man is coming out and you want to get your reports ready, where you go to find those is into your home screen again, pop into management, and then pop into reports. And we have this folder here called Board B Audit. Now, if you're based in Northern Ireland, Scotland, or England and Wales, this will be called Red Tractor Audit for you. And it'll have a couple of maybe different names and reports, but it'll be what you need for your compliance as well. So pop into your Board B Audit, and you've all your 9 reports here that we can provide to you. So if you did want to generate them all at the one time, you can pop into generate all reports, and it'll give you date to and from. So you can pop it back there 18 months there if you need. So back into kind of mid 2024 there or thereabouts, and to today's date. Hit OK and then generate. And what will happen there is whatever email you have on your Herdwatch account, we will send all of those to your email. You should get them within 60 seconds. You'll see them all starting to flow in. So I'll just cancel that there. So what reports are in here? So your remedy usage report. So that's all your treatments. Remedy purchases, all your purchases. So you can also input feed purchases, animals in herd, moved on, moved out, your animal mortality and significant health issues. All of this is in there for you anyway. Just while Hazel was mentioning there, just with the blue tongue vaccine, if you are doing the Bivalto 3, go into your remedy usage report. And if you are just maybe looking for that group that you treated, you could just create a group of those maybe were vaccinated on that day. You can select your group and then run that report. Or maybe if you know you did them within a specific time period or on a certain day, you can actually pop in the date that you want to run it for as well. So again, that will be emailed to you, and then you can submit that then to the National Disease Centre as well. So if you do have any more questions on that, you're always welcome to give us a ring there. If you want to give us a call or pop us a message in the morning, we can go through that again with you in detail as well. Another question actually that came up in the Q&A was, how do you mark a remedy as empty? So again, pop into compliance, pop into remedy and treatments. So we'll just say my Dectomax is actually used up. You might see often in your Herdwatch cabinet, there might be 1 mil or 2 mil left and you need to just mark it off. So just click on your medicine, hit your orange plus button, and you have this button here, mark remedy is empty. So once I've marked that, hit continue. And now it's cleared it out of my cabinet for me. But if I want to go back maybe and have a look at any medicines that have since cleared off my cabinet, hit your 3 dots up in the top right and hit include empty medicine. So now we can have a look back what was in there as well before it got used up. So just if you want to look back at any historic records. I'll just check the Q&A there, just see if there's anything else that has come through.
You might just show Katie remedies that aren't on the list if they ever are adding in anything and it's not there.
Perfect, no bother at all. So again, hit your orange plus button and go back into remedy purchase. So let's say if the remedy that you need to use just isn't in this list for whatever reason, you have this button here, remedy not in list. So if you click on that, so you have the option here to put it in cattle and sheep, or other animals, maybe if it's a dog worming or something as well. So pop into cattle only just for the purpose of the demo. And the only difference here is just pop in the name of the remedy. So again, you have your date of purchase, unit of measure, all the normal flow then of your remedy purchase. All you need to do is put in the remedy name. And when you do that, when you run your reports, it won't show this other cattle only. It will show the remedy name. So it'll look absolutely fine in your reports there as well. Was there anything else that came in there? I'll just have a quick look. Let me see. One other thing actually I will show you is maybe if you're trying to do treatments on the fly and maybe you haven't got your remedy purchase in, but you want to do your treatment there quickly. So if you hit your orange plus button and you go to cattle treatment, you have this second option here for treatment only. So if you click in, it'll just bring in, it's kind of like your vet call out really. The flows will all start to look similar. Once you've done one, you'll do them all. So just pop in your Dectomax, hit next. So it will ask you if you have medicines in already, you you can always copy over the withdrawal periods if you had them in before. So I'll just hit yes on that, just to save myself some time. And then you're back into the same record again. So once you have that inputted, you'll have an option then to go and backdate that purchase. So you can link it back to that treatment then if you need to as well. So just if you are maybe caught in the hopper wanting to put something in on the fly, you can just do a treatment only without the purchase record as well. But would always recommend that you go back and do your purchase record just to make sure your reports are right then for any audits. So that's kind of the remedies gone through. I know I flew through them, but like I said, you can give us a ring in the morning, or you can book a demo with us there. You can book it through the app within the help center. So if anyone does want to get a bit more information, or get myself or one of the agents to reach out to you, absolutely we'll do that. So just get in contact with us there, and we'll do that for you.
Can I just come in there, Katie, as well, just on the side of it? If people aren't, like sometimes we see a cow and we'll inject him with this and this and this, and like it'll be on the prescription, but then you're kind of worried, like it might be posted to you afterwards, or they might and people just want to keep up to date. Like, I don't think there's any harm in saying having your app. Like, I've done it quite a few times when I'm a vet on farms, that people are like, what did you give the cow there? And I'm like, okay, 15 mils of meloxicam, Metacam, or whatever brand I used. And it's like, oh yeah, I have that in as 15 days meat. Yeah, perfect. And you put in the cow number 1065, or, whatever, the sheep tag. And like, I just think if you're a little bit unsure and you're kind of like, oh, I might forget now to put in what the vet gave, I think, because usually there's a bit of chit chat at the van or the Jeep, about the match at the weekend or something, or, and I think actually, if you had your app out and asked the vet there and then, and you'd have your Pacific cow or your Pacific sheep that they treated, it just gets the job done a little bit easier. And we're not monsters. We do like to help farmers keep their records up to date. I know sometimes we might be flying visiting, but generally we would have time to say, oh, I've given her a bottle of this and this and this, and then you'll get your prescription. So I know that sometimes people might get a bit flustered then when they're board BA or red tractors coming up, and maybe they have scripts coming in from the vets from call outs. So just as a little side to what I did as a vet to help people with Herdwatch, that's all. Yeah.
100% Hazel. No, you're dead right. As quick as you can get the medicine into the app, the easier your life is going to be. And we would always say that to customers on the phone as well. So, and look, like Hazel said, vets are very obliging people. They want to make sure your records are right. So don't be afraid to ask at the time. If you are afraid, you are going to forget. And you've seen how quick it is there to get it in straight away. So definitely, as quick as you can get it in is the best advice we can give you.
Yeah. And there was one question there on fluke. I didn't cover fluke because I suppose, look, it's still relevant. It's probably more of a kind of a winter, look, in the sheep side of things, we like fluke still needs to be thought about at this time of year as well. But for suckler cows, because sheep would be outwintered, you see, so they'll be exposed to fluke. So they could be exposed to fluke. When you're fluking sheep, actually, I would be talking to your vet about a fluke Pacific dose rather than using a fluke and a wormer. I just think it's better for resistance, especially if your sheep don't have, say, worms, but they do have fluke, that you're just treating for fluke. You're not treating for worms that they don't have or whatnot. So again, sampling, fecal egg sampling, all of that. So with your suckler cow, if you haven't fluked them by now, and say there's different products that you can use that are going to cover your adult fluke or your immature fluke. A lot of people might give the likes of a Xanil dose or some similar one at calving, but that only will do adult fluke. So if they've been in the house for, say, 3 months, that generally will do, because they won't have picked up any fluke because they haven't been out grazing. But if they have been out wintered, you might need to use a product that, especially if you're in a fluke area, you might need a product that, such as tricobendazole, that does immature fluke as well. So have a chat with your vet about how long they've been inside, have they been outside, etc. So that's fluke. Fluke is never a simple answer. So apologies if I haven't covered everything with Fluke, but talk to your vet about your certain situation. But at this time of year, there's definitely products you can use that you can give as a one-off treatment to dose for Fluke.
Excellent. I'd say if you had to cover everything now, Hazell, we'd probably be here till next week. That's the way things are.
My lack of sheep knowledge as well. I do tend to favor my cows because that's probably my comfort zone. So apologies to the sheep people, but just to keep in mind the blue tongue. That's my main message tonight. If you are concerned about it, talk to your vet.
Excellent. Brilliant. Emma was busy there in the background answering questions. If you do have any more questions, get them in, because we are close to wrapping this up, whether it's for Hazell or whether it's for Katie on our demo side. I just have a few slides just to show you where you can find more information and basically help if you need it. Can you see my screen there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. So like Katie said, you can ring in Monday to Friday 9 to 5 if you need help with any of the features that she would have gone through there in the demo. There is customer support team there in both Ireland and the UK. They are there to help. You can pick up the phone or you can use the in-app message feature. So you can see that on the home screen, the help button, and they will try and get back to you as soon as possible. So do avail of that. They are there to help. The website is also a great tool. On our website, you'll see that there's various help articles and different things there across cattle, dairy, sheep, and different basically how-to articles on certain features or different of the tools in the app. It just kind of breaks it down. If you just want to read an article and watch a little tutorial on how to do a remedy purchase, they're all available on there, as well as webinar recordings from previous months as well. So the website is jam-packed, so definitely avail of that as well. Always good to remember the refer a friend. So it's a way for you to save money on your renewal. So for every friend that you refer to Herdwatch and fill out the form on the website, and they sync up their herd, you can get €100 or £1 off your renewal. So you can, refer as many as you like. Once they don't even have to sign up and pay, they just have to create a free account and sync up their cattle or their sheep. So definitely check that out. It's an easy way to save a few pounds. So upcoming shows, we will be going to Balmoral again this year. So that's on in May. Won't be long coming. So it's a great chance for, if you are traveling to Balmoral, to come and meet the team, and they're there to answer any questions for existing members as well as meeting new ones. So that is it for tonight, and thanks very much to all of you for tuning in, and thanks very much to Katie, Hazell and Emma, who have helped me tonight in this webinar. We have managed to just go over the hour, which was absolutely jam-packed, between everything from Hazell's presentation to Katie's demo. It's been absolutely great. So I would like to thank you ladies for joining me.
Thank you, Katie.
No bother, Katie.
So if you have any more questions, like I said, the team are there tomorrow. This is recorded and it'll be up probably tomorrow afternoon. They're usually quick enough to get them on social media, and also it'll be going out in the newsletter. Thanks very much to everyone for joining, and we will see you all next month for the next webinar. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.